Many Like Jesus presents a study series preparing the saints to face and defeat the schemes of the New World Order. God's plan in the Scriptures is to have many sons like the one who pleases His heart. Test everything. Hold fast to what is good.
Beloved in Jesus, beloved in Yeshua. Originally, I was recording in the next video, which is going to be related to Psalm 122. But something came to my heart and I decided to share it with you, and hopefully this will bless somebody up there. So I will leave you with this short recording. You always hear me saying, beloved in Jesus, beloved in Yeshua. In relation to the name, I'm going to just give you in a capsule why I use both names like that, Jesus and Yeshua. Now, I'm going to take you to Revelation chapter 3, and I'm going to read in the verse 12. In New King James Version reads, He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my God. And listen to the last sentence. And I will write on him my new name. Listen to that. Jesus, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, whatever name. Yeshua, Yeshua, Yehoshua, Yahushua, whatever name. Jesus is saying here in this verse, I will write on him. On whom? The overcomers. He just said at the beginning of this verse, the overcomers. He will write his what? My new. Listen to that. New name. He's stating that he's going to write, and listen carefully because he's not saying, I'm going to write my name. He is saying there, I'm going to write on the overcomers my new. Listen to that. New name. New name. Now, I'm going to take you to another verse, which is in Revelation chapter 19. And I'm going to read in verse 12. Revelation 19, verse 12. His eyes, talking about Jesus coming in Revelation 19 with an army. Verse 12. His eyes were like a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. He had a name written that no one knew except himself. Listen to that. Listen. He had a name written that no one knew except himself. Listen to that. So independently, what is the name you use? It is foolishness. Listen to this. It is foolishness. It's totally immature. It's childish to be fighting with other brethren and having all kinds of arguments in relation to his name. Now these verses are telling us that he has a new name, as we read in Revelation chapter 3:12. And now here in Revelation 19, we are reading that he has a name that no one knows the name he's bringing when he comes back. So it's foolishness and it's very immature to be arguing with other people in relation to the name. That's the reason why I use Jesus and I use Yeshua interchangeably. In my studies and in my research, because I have a study about this, I found that Yeshua is the closest I can find according to my studies. But if somebody has other findings, it's okay. We shouldn't argue about this because as we see clearly, there is a name that he's bringing when he's coming back that nobody knows. So there is no reason whatsoever for us to get divided on this topic. You know what we should fight with? We should fight sin in our lives. Why? Because if we fight sin and we conquer, we will be overcomers. And Jesus is promising to write his new name on the overcomers. So instead of fighting our brethren, we should be fighting sin in our lives. So we will become overcomers, and his new name will be written on us. Now, the question that remains is, how can I become an overcomer? How can you be an overcomer? I'm going to read a passage, and I'm going to share in a capsule something that Paul is explaining to us in 1 Corinthians, and I'm going to read from verse 52 to 56. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Verse 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. Verse 54. So, when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then, listen very carefully, the verse 53 says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when incorruption and the immortality are put on, the verse 54 says, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. 55. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? Verse 56. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. Now the key to conquer incorruption and become an overcomer according to my studies, and to conquer corruption with incorruption, is understanding what it says, the verse 56. It says that the sting of death is sin. So how can we conquer sin in our life? Simply, when God asks you to do something, what he asks you has no sin. If you go and do what he said, what you are doing has no sin, is incorruptible. So the more you practice doing what he says, the more you will have real holiness, because what he asks will never have darkness, will never have sin. So every time you go and do what he asks you to do, what you are doing is not flesh, is not you, is not your idea. God told you to do that. And every time you obey that voice, you are practicing incorruption. What you are doing has no sin whatsoever. So, verse 56 is saying and stating that the sting of death is sin. But because you have been practicing not to sin, how? Obeying the voice of the Father. When the death comes, you will have no sin, because what you did was not yours. So death will not have a place in you to sting you. You cannot die. You will participate in the first resurrection. You will be killing the flesh. You will have a spiritual circumcision, obeying the voice of the Father, and you will qualify to participate in the rapture and the first resurrection. Why? Because death cannot sting you anymore. That is the secret. That's why Jesus is included every single time in the 7 letters, 2 expressions. He who has an ear, he who overcomes. He's giving there the secret. You want to be an overcomer? You must have an ear to hear what the Spirit is saying. Can you see it, brother? So to become an overcomer, you have to have an ear that listen when the Father is speaking to you. You learn to hear His voice and you go and do what He's saying. You are fulfilling the requirement of conquering corruption with incorruption, and you are a candidate for the rapture and the first resurrection. Hopefully this will bring some light to you, and I'm going just to leave it at that. May the peace of Yeshua HaMashiach be in your heart. Amen.
All of these videos in the series are available in the English section of muchoscomojesus.com, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Many Like Jesus. Feel free to use these videos to study yourself, a home study group, or a class in your congregation. And remember, to have many sons like Jesus is God's end-time plan in the Bible to resolve the chaos of this world. Many Like Jesus is a ministry of muchoscomojesus.com.